Hi, welcome to this conversation. It's a really important conversation for us to have, even though we're in India, because we're discussing women's rights in Iran. It is 40 days today since the death of Mahsa Amini. Now, many of us have been following this story very carefully. You'll remember that 40 days ago, Mahsa Amini died in a detention center. She was detained, she was 22 years old, she was detained by the police, the morality police in Iran, for allegedly not wearing her headscarf correctly. Uh, After her death, the Iranian officials denied that she died because they had assaulted her or beaten her into a coma. They said she died of heart attack. Of heart attack. Her family refuted these claims and said that she was perfectly healthy until the time that she was arrested. Protests then erupted all over Iran. These protests were what history is written of. Women out on the streets with the slogan Women, Life, Freedom, Zen, Zindagi, Azadi, which was the main protest that's going on in Iran, has been going on now for 40 days. Women cutting their hair in public, burning their headscarves in public, and there have been various levels of protest across Iran. Many of the men have joined in as well. And today we understand from a report in the BBC that large crowds of people have gathered outside on the streets. They're marching to the cemetery where Mahsa Amini has been buried, saying the same slogans can be heard of women, life, freedom, Zen, Zindagi, Azadi. Also, from reports that we're hearing from the protests so far, several people have been arrested by the government. 12,500 people have been arrested because of these protests. Nearly 250 people have died. The internet has been cut off on a regular basis. The Center for Human Rights in Iran said 3,000 people have been arrested in Tehran province alone, that 835 people remained in jail, and including 200 university students. And there is of course questions of where these people are being held and in what conditions they are being held right now. In order to find out what's really going on in Iran, we wanted to talk to someone from Iran. And Elnaaz Norouzi, who is an actor who lives in India, who is from Iran, who's been very vocal about her support for the protest, has been kind enough to join us. Elnaaz, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
No, thank you for having me.
My first question to you is this: are you in touch with family members back home? What have you heard?
Barely. I mean, the only thing that I can do is call them directly, because WhatsApp or Instagram, nothing's really working in Iran right now. The internet comes on for like 1 or 2 hours during the day, and that's it. And you can't even share videos or pictures. So it's a weird situation, and yeah, I just know that my family is okay every time I call them, but otherwise, it's a scary situation, really.
Tell us about these protests. They're largely organic. We understand there's no leader to this protest. There's no political leader to this protest. It just
Yeah.
came out because of a reaction to the death of Mahsa Amini, and much more than that. Take us through what you know from these protests.
Well, the thing is, I think I'm just going to start from the beginning, because from what I post and how I see how people are reacting under my posts in the comments, nobody really knows what's going on in Iran. And this is about Mahsa Amini, but it's not just about Mahsa Amini. It's about the 43 years that this regime has been in Iran and really oppressing people. And it's not just about hijab, it's about the way the economy is going. It's about how each and every Iranian person in Iran could have been a millionaire with the resources that Iran has, with how rich the country is, and but how these mullahs are taking all of that money, and the people are literally hungry. They barely make money. They barely can feed their families. It's really just about getting the country back. It's about having these mullahs, this Islamic regime, go away so that our country can be the same country again. And also the fact that they're killing people like Mahsa Amini, just like that. Um, and during the day, they just took her with them and killed her. And there is a joke now. We're making a joke out of how they've been killing people in these protests every day, and they're saying, "Oh, we didn't kill Mahsa Amini." So like you're killing people and saying we didn't kill her. How does this make sense? And then they say, oh, this person had a heart attack, the other person fell from the roof of this apartment, the other person had, like, they literally give these statements, and they mean it, they're serious. They do not want to take accountability. You see videos how the Basij is shooting at people on the roads, and they still say, no, we're not killing anybody, and oh, we're happy to talk about this and have a conversation with you all. But when people come out and want to talk, they're being shot, they're being held. The 2 weeks back, the university in Iran, where they sent all the students into the parking lot and locked the parking lot up, and they were beating them up. It's it's really scary. And the ones who've been detained, nobody knows where they are. The families don't know where they are, and they won't be told. It's really unbelievable for myself when I say it right now.
Well, Elas, we do know that there's a lot of support coming in from around the world, especially from women around the world for this protest. Is there a hope now that the global community will step in some way?
Well, I've been seeing the support, and I am so happy about it, because you see so many people go out on the roads, and mostly the Iranians, because they know what's going on, and all of those Iranians are outside of Iran because they couldn't stay in Iran. So we all want our country back. We all want the possibility and the opportunity to go back to Iran. But yes, as you saw in Berlin, Saturday, I think it was, 100,000
Yes.
people came. And because I grew up in Germany, my friends and my family, they all went to Berlin, and I saw everything. They used to send me videos of how many buses there are there on the Autobahn from all the cities of Germany, from the countries around, like Italy and Denmark and the Netherlands. People took to the roads, and they all went to protest to get the governments who are working with the Islamic Republic, to cut their ties with them. Because the more they're being supported from the West, from America, from Germany, from Europe, from anywhere, the more they'll be able to hold on and keep going
Mm.
on with all the things that they're doing to the people. So
I'm just
yeah,
reading out of a Human Rights Watch report that says, based on videos of protests and interviews of witnesses and a security force member, the Human Rights Watch has documented that security forces ruthlessly cracked down on the protesters over the last 1 week, using excessive and lethal force. That across 13 cities across Iran, they were using shotguns, assault rifles, handguns against largely peaceful protesters, often in crowded settings, altogether killing and injuring hundreds of people. They even shot at people while they were running away.
yes, that's the
But the
truth. They
protests
just shot
continue.
day before an 8-year-old girl was shot, a 14-year-old girl, a 13-year-old girl. There are so many cases. It's not just one or two. They're just killing them, and it doesn't matter. And besides that, besides the fact that they're killing them, the girls who are being detained, they're being raped in prison. A video just came out of a friend of a person whose daughter was in prison. After 7 days, they found her, and she spoke to her mother, and the mother said, I'm coming to see you. What do you want me to get for you? And she said she would like to have abortion pills. This is what's going on. It's sad.
Elnaaz, you yourself said that this particular government, the regime that's currently in power, has benefited greatly from the natural resources of the country in a monetary sense. Uh, and given the fact that there is still a fairly large market for those natural resources around the globe for the oil specifically, do you believe that these protests could be successful in overthrowing this regime? Is that a possibility at all, or is that just wishful thinking at this point?
No, it is a possibility with the way our people, with the bravery and the way they're not giving up, and the way we're going right now, it is a possibility, but it's very hard because you have America wanting all of this oil for dirt cheap, and they're getting it from the mullahs, and you have the people who are just clashing constantly. So it's not going to be an easy way where we can go through. We will have to push hard, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're really trying, because we're losing lives, we're losing people, and all that they want is a normal life. Nobody's asking for anything much. The people are just asking for their country back, for it says it's a republic, but it's a dictatorial regime at the end of the day. So no, we're all hoping, and we know something is going to happen. It's not wishful thinking. No.
So, still looking at the same human rights report that came out, and this is a report dated the 5th of October, the Human Rights Watch verified 16 videos on social media, and they also compiled names of 47 individuals who had been killed, who had been shot by security forces, mostly by bullets. These included at least 9 children, 2 of them girls, and 6 women. And as of the 30th of September, the Iranian state media affiliated outlets reported death toll to be close to 60, also announced the death of 10 security forces members as well. Does it worry you that people back home might be out on the streets protesting today?
Yes, of course. One of my best friends who lives in LA, she lost very beginning in the with the protest. She lost a family member in the protests, and he also is one of the. After Mahsa Amini, we have started hashtagging every name that of the person who's dying in these protests, and one of those names is his. And he was beaten up so brutally, and there is a video of how he was pushed into a shop on the road, and they closed the doors, they closed everything so no one could go in and help him. And there's a video of his parents outside of the door literally hitting themselves, crying for help and saying, please let us go in and help our child. And by the time they could go in, he had died.
I'm sorry to hear that, Elnas. Uh, at this moment, what would you ask of the global community? What would you ask of people who are watching this video?
I would ask them to take this seriously because when I post things on Instagram, even though those people who are commenting are my fans and my followers and they claim to love me, they give so much hate under the comments, and they say, well, you're just trying to get some PR out of this, because otherwise why would you be here and not in Iran and fighting with your people on the roads? You have no guts. Not understanding that we all are not allowed in Iran. Every single person who is outside of Iran right now, if they go back to Iran, they will be detained immediately at the airport and taken away, and nobody will know where they're gone. So I think people just don't understand what's going on. They just don't know, and they keep saying these things, saying that, why don't you go to Iran, not knowing we cannot go there. So what I ask of the communities outside of Iran, of the other countries, is that educate yourself a little bit about what's going on in Iran, because the bigger the voice, the louder we are, the more people will listen. Canada has started sanctions on the IRGC. We need the same sanctions from America. Germany is on the way to do the same, because all of these mullahs and all of the people from the Islamic regime, they have the entire families, the daughters, the sons, the cousins, their wives, everyone is living in Canada, in America, in Australia, in Europe. They're enjoying life over there, but they're suppressing their own people in Iran. So we need the Western communities to cut their ties with this regime, because they're terrorists. They're literally killing people. And when you have other terrorist organizations, everyone stops working with them. Everyone sees them as terrorists and starts looking for them. But here, these people aren't even, they're not even afraid, because people don't know what they're capable of and what they can do. So what we're trying right now is make everyone understand that this Islamic regime of Iran, they are terrorists. And another thing which I would like to add is that we are all of us, we're not protesting against Islam. It's just that the IRGC has called themselves the Islamic Republic of Iran, and they're using Islam in the wrong way. I don't think Islam tells anybody to kill people, especially children. But this is what these people are doing. And they're doing in the name of God, which we all believe in God, and we don't think that our God wants this. So it's just I just want everyone to understand what's going on, and the West and all the people who are working with the IRGC to stop working with them and to see them as terrorists.
Well, as you put out a video not long ago in support, in solidarity with the protest, where you stripped down from a full hijab down, to your bare, just to say that, listen, you cannot tell me what to wear. Would you take us through what the thought process was behind that video?
As you said, strip, I never thought of it as stripping. It was one video where I wanted to show every kind of clothing, and what I kept writing on under each of the outfits was that this is okay. And I started with a full hijab to show that that is okay, and that I'm okay with that, and that everyone else should be okay with it too, to a bikini, and to I wasn't completely naked, obviously, but I showed that this is my body and I can do whatever I want with it, and you can do whatever you want with it. And this is not just about Iran. We have these issues all over the world. In America, it's about abortion, where women cannot decide over their own body. We have it in Iran, where people want to be free and decide on their own if they want to wear a hijab or not. Because I'm sure if it's free, there will be millions of women still wearing their hijab, and there will be millions who will decide not to wear it. And then we have other issues in India, where people want to wear the hijab. My whole point is, why can a woman not decide what she wants to wear on her own? And that was what the video was about.
I do want to ask you this though, and you said it, as well. You said that in India there are women right now, the young girls actually, they're close to 18 years old, approaching Supreme Court because they want to be allowed to wear their headscarves in their classrooms. They're not being allowed right now. And on the other hand, the women in Iran are saying, don't force us to wear the headscarves. And on social media in India, we've had a lot of people question women like myself, for example, saying, how can you possibly support both these protests? Because in my mind, it's about women just being allowed to wear whatever the hell they want. But
Exactly.
to answer your critics about if Islam mandates a headscarf, what's your problem with wearing it?
Well, if the people who are practicing Islam want to wear it, they're most welcome. But the thing is that Iranians were not Muslims from the beginning. And the other problem is that everyone should be able to practice the religion they want to. And that's another thing that Iranians are asking for. If there are people, we have Christians in Iran as well. And we have Baha'is who have no rights anyway. And the point is, if I do not want to practice Islam, and hence I don't want to wear a headscarf, then I should be free to do that. And if I want to practice Islam, then I should be free to do that as well. That's the point that I'm talking about. I think the people are just not getting the fact that if you say we want just freedom to choose, this is the only point. We're not saying, oh, we want to get naked or we hate Islam. We're just saying, if I want to practice another religion, I should be able to do that anywhere in the world, as you are in India. If you want to be a Christian, if you want to be a Hindu, if you want to be a Muslim, you're free. Nobody's really forcing you to anything. And it shouldn't be like that in any country. That's what I think.
It's very well said. Also, I want to note here for the audience that while the protest began with Zen Zindagi Azadi, there are a lot of men in Iran who have joined the protest as well.
Yes, our brave men who are so supportive and who also want our women to be free, to have, you know what the thing is. So the IRGC, the mullahs, they say, if you don't wear a headscarf, you will arouse the men with your hair. So what the men were saying and still are saying in these protests, there is a special chant that they have in these protests. They're saying, your hair doesn't arouse us. Your hair is beautiful. Just keep it free. Do whatever you want to. And there are so many videos. I wish I could show it to you right now, but there are so many where men are taking videos of women on a scooter on the road nowadays, and a woman is not wearing a headscarf, and they're like, how beautiful is this? Or a woman is walking on the roads in front of the police without a headscarf, because now they're so brave and so open, and they're not scared. And there are videos of them, and they never take their faces, because otherwise they might just be detained again. So they always take a video of these women from the back, and they say, look at how beautiful this is. And those are all men. And they will not go and assault them. They will not go and touch them. They're just happy that the woman can be free. And these men, all of these men are on the roads, and they are dying for the freedom of their women as well right now. It's not just women who are dying.
Right, Elnaaz, thank you so much for speaking with me today. Of course, today is a day to watch Iran very closely. Like I said, it's 40 days since the death of Mahsa Amini. So it's 40 days since these protests began. And many thousands of people are on the streets of Iran today. Elnaaz told me that they haven't gone to work, they haven't gone to college, they haven't gone to university. They've gone out to protest, and they're actually marching to the graveyard where
Yes.
Mahsa Amini has been buried as well. Keep an eye out for Iran. The least we can do across the world is at least read about it and make sure that we're well informed. Elnaaz, our support, of course, to you and family members and loved ones who are back in Iran.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. Thank you.
Thank you.